Right.
Okay, Chevra, we're holding at page 140. Okay, we're going deep. Shlomo is, we're taking Shlomo to be our love doctor. A love doctor. We need a love doctor. Soul doctor. Oh, there's the play. There's that musical, right? Yeah. But specifically love right now because we're trying to heal. It's a month of Elul, and there's so much pain personally and communally. There's just so much pain going on, and it seems like L'chora, like Reb Shlomo, maybe one of the things he would say, in addition to being strong and doing what we need to do with our enemies, but in addition is just reaching deeper and loving a lot deeper, right? So last week we started this mimer from Reb Shlomo, and a lot of it is based on these two Torahs in the Likutei Moharan, Torah 33 in the first section, and Torah, I always forget if it's 78 or 71, 140. Torah 33 in the first section Likutei Moharan, and Torah 71 in the second section Likutei Moharan. And Reb Shlomo was painting for us a picture where two things. There's this love that comes from before creation that motivated creation. Now that love is so deep that it's got nothing to do with our deserving or undeserving. We were created because of that love. So it's not like related to deserving or undeserving. We were created out of that love, right? Rabbi Nachman is teaching us in Torah 33, we saw last week. I'm just doing a little, that love from before creation, that love is Panimius HaTorah. That's why people get excited about Panimius HaTorah. Why is it attractive? Like, why is even like Madonna, they're running to Panimius HaTorah, is that it contains this love from before creation. That's what it is at its essence. It's dressed up in words and stories and concepts and exciting, but what's the attraction? What's the excitement of it? Is we just want like one little dollop of divine primordial love, and it'll heal it'll fix everything. Right? All we need is just one little drop, and it'll just fix everything. So the mashal they're bringing down, when Alter Rebbe started to teach more and more Panimius, and they asked him, how can you do this? He said a mashal of a prince who got sick, right? And the king said, take the jewel at the center of my crown and grind it up and make it into a potion and just pour it over his face. And hopefully one drop will get into his mouth, even if most of it gets lost. But all it needs is just this one drop to get in, and it will heal him, right? Chaim.
This is where Vera brings the Prince of Stone.
It's related, but that's the mashal from the Alter Rebbe is his mashal, and Rabbi Nachman's story of the prince made of precious jewels is a story, and it would be cool to try to connect it, but I'm not going to do it right now. But what I'm talking about is this love from before creation. Rabbi Shlomo is talking about this love from before creation, which Rabbi Nachman talks about Torah 33. Which, by the way, in a certain way, I always think it's Torah 33, it's Lamed Gimel, it's Lag BaOmer, is the bonfire of Lag BaOmer. Every Yontif and every special day in the calendar has something, a vessel that can control that light, right? What is the vessel that can possibly hold the light of Rabbi Shimon is like a vessel that's not a vessel, that's just a 30-foot high flame. Because what could possibly bring us that sense of how much Hashem loves us from before we were even created? We were created out of that love, is the bonfire, right? Okay. And then Rav Shlomo was saying, there's Noam Ha'elyon. There's this high sweetness. There's this love really is filling the universe all the time. Just we need a vessel for it. And I said a muscle from Morty Shizgal, live and be well from Montreal, one of my first Hasidus teachers, that outer space near Earth looks black, but you stick a moon there, suddenly you realize it's actually filled with light. There's just nothing there to reflect it, so it looks black. So too, Hashem's love is filling the world. What we need, and this is really Torah 71 in the second section of the Quran, is when we can be kinder, when we can push ourselves to find a love that is from before creation. As we were learning last week, that Avraham Avinu, after he did the Bris Milah, he was in this higher place of perception after the Bris Milah. And Hashem made it super hot, so nobody would come bother him while he was. So he says, in a certain way, the love Avraham was giving before then was called the love of after creation. You see someone in need, you help them. Now Avraham was so filled with love and wanted to give so badly that Hashem created angels to receive that love. And where someone was remarking how amazing it is, of all the stories of Avraham Avinu's chesed, what we get in the Torah is this one, where it wasn't even humans, but it's because the Torah is giving us this picture of him running and washing their feet and giving each one a tongue and so on, and that it was him reaching this level of reflecting, of being that love from before creation, that love that motivates giving before there's even a receiver. In a certain way, part of the thing of getting married is when you just have so much love, you need someone to give it to, right? Let Hashem be blessed. Everyone should be blessed to find it in their current spouse, and if they haven't found them yet, to find it, to find mamish, that person. And then we learned that refuah comes. This is what healing is. That healing comes not from the love that is after creation, but from the love that is before, the love that is einat tluya b'davar, right? That is beyond all calculations and computations. It's just it motivates life itself. And that love is what heals. So says Reb Shlomo, these angels really what they were there for, one of their primary purposes was healing of Avraham Avinu. And so when Abraham became the vessel, when he reached so deep, like we need to reach so deep to this place, I'm not giving because of anything, just like God before creation created the world out of absolute nothingness. So too, like we don't have to only give to the world because we want to give back or because somebody did something nice to me. We can find the love in ourselves because our souls are a piece of God. We can find the love in ourselves that knows that primordial loving, that does not need to have anything already. Even when the world, it seems, is so cruel and the world is so falling apart and confusing. And we were learning from Reb Shalom Zal, his poem, The Long Train of Insanity, this unbelievable poem that he has, that's called The Long Train of Insanity. And we've been on it for a long time, and especially this year, Chaim, is even then, maybe we feel like the world is in minus. The world isn't giving me at all what I'm supposed to have gotten, not even, but we can still love. Because there's a love within us that doesn't depend on any computations and calculations and like a tit for tat concept. It's inside, it's deeper, and it's divine. It's Pashat divine. Chaim. And when we become like that, so then we become a vessel for the Noam Ha'elyon. We were learning Rabbi Nachman's unbelievable Lashonas, his wording in Torah 71, that when you become a charitable, become giving, this opens up shvilim the liba, pathways within your heart. Your heart becomes this whole chamber with all these pathways in it, and you've got all these amazing, like the most wonderfully yummy, sneaky ways to love people in the world. You find all these passageways, like our enemies are making subterranean passageways. We can make subterranean passageways to each other, to give, to love. You can find these sneaky things. These shvil, a shvil is is a personal path. It's not a rachov, it's not a derech, it's a shvil is like very, very special. Rabbi Nachman says when you give, your heart becomes filled with shvilim deliba. You become able to be the most wily and sophisticated and what's the word, sneaky giver. Right? You become able to find all these ways to brighten people's days, and those shvilim deliba become a vessel for what he calls shalhuvim derichimusa, flames of love that light up in your heart, that are the flames of love of that Noam Ha'elyon.
Is shvil the root of bishvilcha? Is that literally like
The Baal Shem Tov said that.
Oh.
Yeah. Kol ha'olam lo nilzon ela bishvili. That remember Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, who was it? Was it to the whole world? Is only nizon for.
Oh yeah.
Which Tana was it? Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, or was
I think so.
right? And it says and all he eats is a little bit of carob tree, and Baal Shem Tov said shvil is means that like the flow comes through him, his love, and we can all be that. We can all have these shvilim of our heart for the Noam Ha'elyon, for this love to come through. Yeah.
Struggling to understand what the shvilim represents exactly. I hear that they're small parts.
Yeah.
What would a small part of love between me and someone else look like? What is a small part? How does that manifest?
Well, the first thing is that it's in your heart. It means it's the way that you think. That's the way I might put it. It's when you look at the world, like, do you see all of these amazing, sneaky chesed opportunities? And right, that's a person who has shvilim deliba. And the more that you give, the more they open up. Right? That's what Rabbi Nachman is saying. And then these shvilim deliba become the vessel for that Noam Ha'elyon, which is shofea tamid. It's always flowing. It's like outer space is always filled with light. But the more we become giving, the more this lights up, and the more we're able to get deeper and deeper and closer to that love from before creation that doesn't need a reason, right? Doesn't need a reason. Like they say, what do they call random acts of kindness or something like that? What's there's like some kind of it's just that's it, right? Yeah, random acts of kindness, random. That like it's like this. It's from before creation. It's random in the sense that it's not because I owe. It's not because I'm paying back. Et cetera, et cetera. It's from that place of yesh me'ayin mamish, right?
It's pure.
Pure. Yes.
Do you remember when El Al and other airlines used to do this too? They used to give out like a long haul flight. They used to start handing out hot towels towards the end of the flight,
Right.
like refresh you.
Yeah.
And then they just stopped. But it's interesting because it came to mind because it's like one of those. It was nice. It was like it was refreshing.
Right.
They hand you the hot towel. I guess it's also like illegal. It's like illegal.
They used to be in
the tongs. They hand you
the
the tongs.
right.
And, it's freaking hot. But like for 5 seconds, it felt great. And then it was cold. No, but it's like it's interesting because it came to mind because it's like someone in management determines like, okay, this is a chesed that we should incorporate because this adds like the value to the experience. This is one we can cut a corner. We can cut this one because like it's kind of like people kind of like it, but it's not worth the cost stuff.
That's an amazing thing. That's also
that's like a shviel. That's a shviel chesed.
Gorgeous. It's also something I love particularly this idea that somebody in management, because for Elul, it's not just us thinking what way can I open up these pathways, but also what are the old ones that I used to have and I stopped. Right? Who are those people I used to call every Arab Shabbos?
Or the people who still look for the mitzapim for the hot towel.
Yeah.
They're looking.
They're still talisking.
Right. One day the hot towels come back into rotation.
That's it. Right? Time.
Mitzapim with hot towels. Waiting for the day, Rabbi Sai. Wait for the day. The hot towels.
Rabbi Sai. The towels. Right. So now the thing is, I want to read to you a little bit from a different Torah just to introduce what we're doing today, to take it to the next place. Woo! beginning of Torah 64 in the Likutei Moharan. I'm still. We'll get into Shlomo in a minute, but it's just like his words are so like dense and filled with or. I like. Ki Hashem Yisbarach. This is the beginning of Torah 64 in the Likutei Moharan, the first section. Ki Hashem Yisbarach machmas rachmanuso baras ha'olam. Hashem, out of love, created the world. Right? This is another way Rabbi Nachman puts it. What we were learning before about the love from before creation is Torah 33, but here in Torah 64 is another way he puts it. Out of love, because of love, Hashem created the world. Ki ratzah legalot rachmanuto. He wanted to reveal His love. If there would not be a creation of the world, to whom would He bestow or show His love? Ve'alkein bara es kol havriya mitchilas ha'atzilus had soif nikudas America shel magashmi k'dei lahares rachmanut. So created the world from the beginning of the highest world down to the very depths of the physical world, all in order to reveal love. All in order to reveal love. And when Hashem wanted to create the world, there was no space to create the world in. Because everything was infinite. When everything is infinite, there's actually nowhere to make a world. Therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu constricted the light to the sides. The sides, which means that where we are is central, and where that infinite light is, He sidelined it. He sidelined that infinite light for a different something else, which we're going to see from Shlomo, that what's possible here in this finite world is bigger and greater than that infinite light that's on the sides. That's the Pele. That's the Pele.
What's this? What does Rabbi Nachman mean? Called center, that's the light on the side. Like what's the
I would say it's like central to Hashem. But so to speak, this is again, I don't know what Rabbi Nachman means, and really he's taking it from Reb Chaim Vital, who took it from the Arizal. But Leibish Hundred's thought on this is L'chaim is that thank you so much. Is that where's the Gemara? There's a Gemara in Chagika. I don't have it open here, but there's a Gemara in Chagika. It's like page like Yud Gimel or Tetvav or something like that, where they're pulling apart the Mishnah. Okay, so we're 2 steps away from Shlomo. We'll get back to him soon. This is all Shlomo, but the Mishnah in Chagika says there are questions you're not supposed to ask. Malamala, malamata, malifnim, malachor. You're not supposed to ask like what's above, what's below, what's before, and what's after. And it's very sort of poetic and a little bit mysterious. What do they mean? You know. So the Gemara says, I understand. Don't ask what's above and what's below and what's after. But what's wrong with asking what was? Malifnim. They're learning it in terms of time. It's history. My dehava, whatever it was. Like, what's such a big deal? I understand there are things that are beyond us. So we're not meant to know the end. We're not meant to know what's up there. We're not meant to know what's down there. But what happened before, I mean, that's history. Ma'abaya. And so the Gemara gives a mashal, a metaphor for what was before and why we don't ask about it. It said, like a king who needed to build a palace, and where he decided to make it was this place where there was an ashpa, a trash heap. And he told his workers to clean out the trash heap and make the palace there. And he told everyone, no one's allowed to discuss what was here before. Now it's my palace. No talking about the trash heap. It's not honorable to the royal palace. That's a very strange metaphor for creation, right?
Creation created in a trash heap.
Right? Right? Ashpa, the Gemara says. May Ashpas Yarim Evyon, we say, right? And halal every month. So, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, is that what the Gemara is saying is that, you know what? What's the issue? Is how did Hashem get by without us for so long? You know, there was like infinite, like, you know, and there was like, okay, he created time, so it's complicated. What does that mean? That would be that before and after. It's like, but there's some kind of an idea that there was pre-creation, you know, and you know, Hashem, how could you? Don't you love me? How could you have a whole like life before, like, you know? I think that's where this kasha is coming from, of malifnim, and the answer that they're giving is Hashem is saying, I don't want you talking about what was. To me, it's all garbage. You're my palace, and whatever it was is ashpa. This is my understanding of that Gemara. I didn't see it anywhere, but
you have to live in the now, because Jewish history could be full of pain. Look what happened in Mitzrayim. You can't think of these things. You have to live now.
Another relationship.
Another aspect. What? Yeah, like, you know, who are all your past, you know, your past flames, you know? Not good to talk about that, right? It's like, they're all garbage to me. You're my palace, you know, that's really, it's, you know, it's amazing. It's I think that is a efsher, really what the Gemara means. Okay. How do we come to this? Somebody asked a question.
I asked you what the center inside.
Oh, right. So centrality, like this, you understand? They like, you're my palace. Whatever was right. And so the Ein Sof, even though it's or Ein Sof, it's embarrassing for me to even talk about that. I'm here for you. Like I'm committed to you. Hashem made a bris, Noach with Avraham Avinu, with each of us. It's for real, and no backsies, right? no, right? You're in, like full commitment.
Why does it seem he keeps wanting to replace the nation anytime something goes wrong?
Okay, it's an issue. I don't want to get too far from the right. The main thing here is that there's a centrality, and all of this is right because to come to Shlomo was going to speak about Chesed and Din. But yeah, one more question. Go ahead.
You have to raise a child like that. With Chesed and in the now. You can't say, exactly. I'm angry because of 3 weeks ago.
Shlomo was going to mamish relate everything we're learning to raising children. 100%, 1,000%. So says Rabbi Nachman, just finishing this thing about Tzimtzum or Latzdadin. Because Hashem moved his Ein Sof infinite light to the sides, now there's this empty space here. That's where we are, right? That's why we don't see infiniteness so easily, right? We see disparate objects and colors and shapes and sounds and stuff like that, right? Within this vacated space is time and measurements and everything. Shem Brias Ha'olam. This empty space was necessary because without it, there wouldn't be any space. It would all just be infinite. Just be maybe like God serving God. It would just be robotic. It would just be, it needed to be an actual gap. This chalala panui, this emptiness, we cannot fully grasp it. Meaning to say, we cannot grasp the divine presence within it in a full way until Mashiach comes. There's a limitedness. There's a partiality. We spoke last time about the stars being a partial consolation to the moon. Remember that? The stars are partial consolation because the stars are each singing their song so beautifully, and they're each exactly where they need to be. And they put into our heart, when we were able to see them, sometimes you have to travel very far to see them, but they put into our heart certainty that we are also where we need to be. There's a dissonance in being in this Chalal HaPadoi. And it feels so dissonant that it's like I can't really do my thing because I'm not in the right spot. Something's off, you know? Sometimes we blame ourselves, sometimes we blame the circumstances, whatever it is, but there's this, the stars remind us in an incomplete way The moon is not placated by Hashem saying, okay, you're diminished, you're not the same as the sun, but I'll give you the stars. But it's partial. There is this thing of we have partial constellation. Very, very important. We have half a name of Hashem with us. We have half a name. Ein Shmi Shalem, Ein Kisei Shali Shalem. We're in this situation of imperfect, incomplete consolation, incomplete perception. That's the Chalal HaPanui. Ki tzarich lamar shnei hafachim. We have to say two opposites. Yesh ve'ayin. Like tzimtzum, shekiviyachol tzimtzem lukus, which I'm God's godliness, God's infinite light. It must still be here. How could it not be here? But it's also Hashem constricted His infinite light, so it's not here. It's here and it's not here. Yesh ve'ayin. Ve'ein sham elokus kiviyachol, so to speak. There's no godliness. Ki im lochen hayinu panui. If not, then it's not really. There's no space. There's no creation. Everything collapses back to being infinite. Ve'ein makom l'brias olam klal. Now there's no room for the world at all. But the deepest truth. Varay afal pichen. There is godliness there. Because we cannot understand it until Mashiach comes. But what Shlomo is going to get into now is negotiating how holding this infinite love and radiating this infinite love while living within a world that is not infinite and being able to, we are at war. Like we don't just say we're just going to all sit at home and let them run over us because we're only loving. We can't do that. And that's just one extreme example. But there has to be Hadin v'echas. Here we have page 140. LaKadosh Baruch Hu yesh shem Havaya v'yesh shem Elokim. Page 140 here inside. Hashem has the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is the name of Rachamim, the name of love, and it has the name Elokim, which is the name of Din, of judgment. Shem Elokim Mor El Gvura V'Din. It teaches about constriction and judgment. There's actually because of Bereshis bara Elokim. Hashem created the world. The first name of Hashem that's used in the Chumash is the Din name. Because when Hashem first created the world, first thought was Din, which is related to this idea of Tzimtzum. Because without that, everything just collapses back to being infinite, right? There's now, right? What we're going to see is that there's a kind of infiniteness that's possible to do here, specifically by dancing that harmony, by living within the limits and giving the infinite love within it that is even greater than the Or Ein Sof. It's like, so to speak. It's like you have to say so to speak a lot of times, but it's like this. There's something incredibly deep. The relationality, if that's a word, the possibility of relationship, the connectivity, the longing that we can have dafka in this world is the envy of heaven, is the envy of even the infinite light, is central to Hashem, so to speak, right? Because of the din, thanks to the din, thanks to the Chalal HaPanui, thanks to that gap, that dissonance, that things aren't just all completely obviously divine. He says we're going to see more about this. There has to be an order to existence. Yom ze yom, day is day, Laila ze Laila, night is night. My mother was telling me, I didn't get to see it, but the total eclipse of the sun that happened, like when was it? 3 months ago? In April, yeah. 6 months already. 6 months already. My mom went to the park to see it. And it was middle of the daytime, and the moon goes from and it became dark. She said you could see the stars at like 2 PM. She said the animals and the birds were going crazy. Wow. Right? Because like the Seder, now this is really, it's part of the Seder, the eclipse, but there's a Seder creation, the birds, the insects, the animals, everything is expecting like a certain thing. When that happened, like the light of the sun got turned off. Like sometimes it's cloudy, okay, but it got so dark that you could see the stars. It's like unbelievable. So that's now that doesn't happen often. If that would happen, like we need the Seder is really important, right? There's a Seder, There's an order. Day is day, night is night, winter is winter. If candle lighting is at 4:20, you can't change it. You can't say, I need to rest. I'll light candles at 6. Can't do that. There's this man. I'll be able to receive Shabbos better at 6 o'clock, at 7 o'clock. I'll light candles then. No. You cannot change it. It's Mana Shabbat. You can't change the time of Shabbos. You can't say I'm living my whole life just with the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. I'm just infinite, right? There's somebody who's asked me last week after the shiur, they're like, okay, it's so deep to be loving and everything. But some people, but it means you can never criticize. Does it mean you can never? No, there are limits within. Even when we're speaking about this whole thing of loving, that's from before, that's deeper than creation, that's not because of deserving, etc. It doesn't mean that there isn't also seder. It doesn't mean there isn't also din. It doesn't mean you can't tell someone, why were you late? It frustrated me. It doesn't mean, or whatever. We're still living within, and specifically, but that's what makes us, we're going to see, the expressions of love in this world so precious because they're in a world. It's because of that, and we're going to see more about this. Rak Hashem hu ein sof, ha'olam hu lo ein sof. We can't say, why can't I say I'm living with only the shame Yud Kei Vav Kei and everything is infinite for me, and I'll make Shabbos when I feel like making Shabbos? Ki ata lo ein sof, because you're not actually infinite. You're in a body, you're a specific guy or girl. Rak Hashem yisbarach hu ein sof. Only Hashem is actually infinite. Ha'olam hu lo ein sof. The world is not infinite. That's this whole thing. On the other hand, if you say, okay, all there is order and rules, all there is calculations and quantifications and comparisons. Hanashim sheisem rak din v'seder, all they have, and you break you make them 5 minutes late, they freak out, or if that's all you have, they could become very ugly. They can become murderous, people like that. Very, very heavy. They could embarrass someone in public, which the Gemara compares to murder. And even more personally, we can become murderers on ourselves because we hold ourselves to a standard. We've somehow imbibed, okay, we got the idea of din, okay, very good. It is a real part of creation. But if that's all you have on yourself, then gewalt, you can mamish, you could turn yourself into a wallflower. Like I always love saying about the kid in the school play, that like, you're not just the tree, standing on the side, just holding a tree. You have a speaking role in this world, and we have a way of silencing ourselves because we overly internalize some kind of rules, and we've decided that we're not good enough, that we're not whatever it is, and we're missing this love on the inside, right, for ourselves. And it says, people like this who are too much on that place say, you did such and such, you need to go to jail. That's printed such and such, and they need to be put to death. They don't have rachmanas. I heard, by the way, recently that, maybe 2 years ago actually, that in New York, it's a bona fide legal term to beseech the judge for rachmanas. Like spelled in English, Rakhman. You can beseech, word to the wise, if anything ever happens, and you can do that, and then the judge might just like give you a whole different sentencing. So some people think. In any case,
only in New York.
I think I'll Kopanim in New York.
In New Jersey.
I'm not sure. That's what maybe it's other places too, but it's like I was pretty amazed that existed. Says Rav Shlomo, Sod HaChayim, the secret of life. On the one hand, we have to have absolute order. There's really is, we have to respect time, we have to respect space, we have to respect people, we have to respect the finiteness of this world. We have to be real about money. To be real, mitzad echad, u'mitzad sheni, ein sof. On the other hand, infinite. Love from before, which is what motivated creating the Chalal HaPanui to begin with. What motivated creating this big vacated space with all the measurement in it. It was out of love that Hashem did that. Right? Hard for us to perceive it because it feels like just like abandonment, but within it is dignity. Hashem is giving you the dignity of your journey and not doing everything for you, not cutting your chicken. Hashem is letting you do it. It's hard. I got it wrong. I have a chad pami fork and it broke. I need another one. I don't know where to get it. Everything's all too hard for me. But at least it's really your journey. Yeah.
But what about the final sentence of Adon Olam? Hashem is with me and I will not fear.
Absolutely. So Hashem is with us here in this world completely, even though it's finite and we don't see him all the way. But at least the first two letters of Hashem's name are here, this partial name. Till Mashiach come, Bayamahu, Yeh Hashem Echad, U'Shmo Echad. Like, we don't have his name all the way, but he is with us 1,000%. And this is why Shlomo calls it a secret. This kind of ability to live like this, it's like a secret. It cannot be put in words. That's this concept of a nigun also. Rabbi Nachman in Torah 64, at the end of the Torah, he speaks about nigun. It's a very important part of the inyan of nigun that we can't explain how God is here in this world with all this pain and suffering that we see. But when we sing a nigun, somehow we can believe it. The music can contain it. It can hold a certain kind of light that our heart tunes into, that our heart kind of remembers that primordial love from before creation and recognizes that there's something profound about this process and trusts it. Afal Pichen, with all the pain, trusts it.
Nigun it's like a conjugation of Gan, like Gan Eden. So God, it's like Nigun, like we will get Gan Eden, we will get Garden of Eden.
We shall
like
garden.
Like the Gan Eden is not just a past.
We will garden.
we will Gan Eden specifically. We remember something from Gan Eden that we can facilitate.
Right, exactly. That's the bracha, right? Kesamechacha yitzircha began Eden we can.
Nigun.
I think you're saying specifically nigun like Lashon Gan.
Yeah. 100%.
Gone, but not forgotten.
Boom. It's too long. As it's Neil Young, right? Gone, but not forgotten. Isn't it Neil Young? Anyway, I have a
my son.
100% nachas. The ikar b'chinuch eladim, especially, it brings it to, like you said, how to raise children. We need both names. Havaya, Elokim. Kids need structure. Kids need regularity. They need to know what to expect. And they need infinite love.
Creativity.
Right? Creativity. Right, that's a great place where the two intersect. Day is day, night is night. And on the other hand, if that's all we teach them is only order, we're blemishing their soul. We're blemishing the name of Hashem, Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, that is with them in their soul, Ein Sofi, the infinite name of Hashem. We have to teach our kids both things. Later on in this Torah, Reb Shlomo said something famous, at least in my book it's famous. He said, we're going to see it not today, but it's on page 150. He says, sometimes a child comes home and he needs a peanut butter sandwich, just a regular peanut butter sandwich. Sometimes he comes home and he needs an infinite peanut butter sandwich. And we all know what that means. The peanut butter that comes with a hug, that comes with that something, with that caring, with that something that cuts across and gives him this love that is infinite. Someone says, Page 141. Im mishu cholet. Person is sick. Yesh anashim shemitlachashim shekanireh magiya lo. People may be whispering, it seems that they deserve it, right? Terrible thing to say, right? Yesh anashim shenotim hesberim. Some people give explanations. Madua hayu sheishet milyonim tzrichom hareg b'sha'ah nera. They have like calculations that this happened and that happened. They had to die. The 6 million. A horrible, horrible thing to give any reason. Anybody who gives these kinds of reasonings is themselves like a murderer. Maybe he's not murdering people, but he has some kind of place of murder in his heart. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Sometimes a person gets engaged and they love the other person with a limited love. They want to know how much money does she have, how many degrees. That's not infinite love. It's like just like a list of stuff. It's not love from before creation. Doesn't mean you can't ask about these things, right? Before creation, Shlomo emphasizing this, there was nothing before creation. It was yesh me'ayin mamish. So there's a love that's not tluya b'davar. It doesn't depend on any explanation, computation, calculation, condition, unconditional, right? Just it motivated all of existence. With Nebri Aloya Klum, Milvada Vatoins of each Hashem, except for this infinite love of Hashem, Loya Shum Davar Chutz Me'ain Sof. And then it says, you cannot heal someone with love that comes from after creation. When somebody's in pain, it's not the time to educate them, that he's wrong, and what, especially not to speak this way with the children. If a child's crying and an adult comes over and says, why are you crying? Your father hit you or punished you. Surely your father was right. Someone says, maybe whatever, maybe the father was right and the kid deserved it. But if you're speaking this way to your child, to a child, can't heal them. Can't heal them like that. You'll just make them sicker. If somebody's crying, we need to go to that place of love that is before creation. Before creation. So now, for us, this Elul Tafshin Pei Dalid, we're all crying. All of Am Yisrael's crying. We need to go back to a place of love that is before. That is before. You want to heal someone. We need to go back to that love that was before there was anything else, before anything existed, and we have that in us. Have that in us. And I hear of Shlomo, page 142. Just do this little piece. He's bringing in an incredibly important thing. Maybe we'll do the next two if we have the time. The Kanir said the Be'al Koch HaRipuy B'Yadayim, hands. Now this is an unbelievable thing, because the body, on the one hand, is like the most physical thing. It's limited. It's like the expression of the soul's kind of having been sent down from so high a place to such a limited thing, right? And yet, what hands can do. Unbelievable. Counter to the Be'al Koch Ripuy B'Yadayim, the power of healing that hands have. It would seem at first glance that hands are limited. So whatever you do with your hands is going to be limited. But it's not true. Hands can give over something infinite. Specifically, body to body. Something can get across that is infinite. That even in a certain crazy way bigger than even that light from before creation. It's relational. It's within the stories. It's my dignity to your dignity. It's a chizuk. It's an expression. It's a strengthening of to be able to connect to that primordial love of Hashem. And in Dafka, it's amazing. Comes through the fleshike hand. It's unbelievable. Lamashal. For instance, if I tell somebody I love you and yohevotcha, zemugbal. Ki diburim hamugbalim. Words are limited. But if I hold their hand and I say to him, I love you, it's infinite. Something else comes across. So amazing. It's such a flip of the thing. We think, well, what's really infinite is like the spiritual, the beyond, no, what your hand, what your finger can do, what a hug can do. But you're specifically through the body. It's so amazing. It's mamash absolutely amazing. And he says, the Gemara says that Hashem created the world with his hands. And I wanted to bring this in. Am I remembering the right page? We weren't Ketubah, Daf Hey Amud Aleph.
That part of the Adonai prayer into his hand, I commend my spirit.
Yes, but yeah,
when I sleep and when I wake, and with my spirit, my body also.
Totally.
The Lord is with me, I will not fear.
Totally. Thank you, absolutely. So here the Gemara here says, Hey Amud Aleph, Darash Bar Kapra. Okay, and this is a lot where Shlomo's getting this. Greater are the deeds of the righteous than the creation of the world. Now here we're getting to like what Shlomo's talking about, that on the one hand Hashem, right, and how so? Because the pasuk says, Dilu b'shamai, ma'aser shamayim v'aretz k'tiv, af yadi yazda aretz v'mini tepcha shamayim. My one hand created the world, right? My right hand. V'ilu ma'aseh yadayim shel tzadikim k'tiv, machon l'shivtecha, Ba'at Hashem. Excuse me. Mikdash Hashem. Hainanu yadecha. Two hands. The Mikdash Hashem, which is made by the tzaddikim, were made with the two hands, with Hashem's two hands. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure that it's okay. I'm not completely sure I need it, but thank you. I'll take it away. We'll use it. So yeah, so this is this thing. Hashem made the world with his hand in order to create this finite space where we can get, and again, it's also this incompleteness. It's not yet both hands. The Mikdash is both hands. Mashiach will be both hands. But when we do righteous acts in this world, we bring across the two-handedness. We bring across this infinite interconnectedness, specifically within our lives in this world. And then here Shlomo adds a third level. He says, Shalosh negiyot, yesh yadayim shalifnei habriya. They're the hands of before creation, which is this love that we've been learning about, this primordial infinite love that motivated creation. It's called Hashem's right hand. Yemini tipcha shamayim, which is a pasuk from Yeshaya Memchet that the Gemara brings and says this is Hashem's one hand that he created the world with, and it's a hand of love, and it's this primordial, unbelievable love. V'yesh yadayim shel achar habriya. Then there's the hands of after creation, which is the hands of limitation, the hands of not what we're talking about, the hands of stuckness. The hand before creation is such love, it's beyond limitation completely. He says, I'm just skipping because running out of time here. So there's There's the hand from before, that's infinite, that motivates creation. The hands of after creation, which is all limited and din, which on the one hand is important, but on the other hand, it's just sort of like the hands of doing malacha, of making things, of doing things, of business, of being responsible, and so on, which is also really important that we have that side of din, like we learned before. Children need structure. The sky is the sky, the earth is the earth, and their nature continues. It's beautiful, it's wonderful. It gives us a sense of confidence and sort of at homeness in the world. But that's not the hands that give across this amazing thing. The hands that give across the infiniteness, he calls yesh od b'chinat yadayim yadayim shel Mashiach, which in a certain way is even greater than just the primordial love from before creation. It's the kind of love we can give each other and give Hashem, and from within this world of the mixture of infinite and finite. Dafka, within here, we've got this double-handedness, as the Gemara calls it, that we can make a mikdash, we can create holy space, like this living room in Yerushalayim, right? And we can create holy space all over. That's the hands of Mashiach. And here he brings the pasuk that the Gemara brings there in Daf Hey in Ketubot. Katuva beis hamikdash hashlishi mikdash Hashem koinenu yadecha. Your hands, both hands. The third mikdash is going to be two hands, going to be an expression of all the wondrous deeds of throughout all of time, all those little shvilim deliva, all those little amazing things where we gave across to each other infinite confidence, infinite love, infinite strength. By becoming vessels for that primordial love, we become even bigger than that. We become the wonder of that primordial love being expressed within creation, within the dignity of our own lives and everybody around us.
When we say a bracha, and we say King of the universe, that's the infinite love.
Even just saying that, 100%. This Beis Hamikdash Rishon v'Hasheni nivnu al yadeinu. The first and second temples were created by us. Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi. Rashi and Tosfot both say, Yibaneh b'mheira rakim hayadayim shel Hashem. It'll be created by Hashem's hands. There will be some kind of unbelievable, like we're learning to rearrange atoms. There'll be Hashem Kadosh Baruch who's going to just those hands, the double-handedness is going to, that's what we'll get the whole Yud Ke Vav Ke, but both hands will get the real consolation, right? The mamish, the real nechama. Sometimes we can heal people by loving them, but it takes time. Like little by little, you help them out of their trauma, you love them, they learn little by little to trust you, little by little to get on to feed like a Bambi kind of a thing. That's this aspect where you are healing them. You're being a vessel for that love from before creation. It also took 6 days to make the world. Mashiach the hands is when we really become vessels, what Avraham Avinu was doing, and when he then got back, he put out that love and he got the refuah back into him from Hashem in one moment, when we really are vessels for that love, and in a way that is also respectful and what's the word, empathic and present, and not only reaching back to that love from before, but empathic to the limitations and pain in this world, and we give the love through with the tears. Whoa, then something happens. Then there's this Mashiach healing that comes through that can heal in one instant. Mamish incredible. Just hands of before creation are infinite, but it still takes time. Hashem created the world in 6 days. But the hands that will build the Beis Hamikdash, they're just one instant. They just go so deep into the person that they remember that there's a place within them that never ever gave up hope, even while they thought they gave up hope. They remember that really I never gave up hope, and I can smile and live, and I'm just back. I'm just back. Unbelievable. It can be done. It just takes so much love and empathy and presence. And you have this little bit of Mikdash Hashem Koinunuya, this double-handedness, a little bit of that even now. When we're loving someone and mamish holding their hands, we have that person can tell, what way are you holding my hands? Are you holding my hands like just within creation, like just as a totally this worldly act of solidarity? Are you reaching back to the love from before creation? Are you reaching back to love from before creation with the empathy of all the pain I've gone through and it's real Mashiach energy? Then that's right. Oh, be a dime of Nebria, oh, be a dime so Mashiach. Wow. Bezat Hashem. It's all only partial right now, but we can get little glimmers. And no words that can say it, but there are sparks in the eye, and there are little clenches of the hand, and little sneaky chesed that can get it all across and remind us that we never lost hope in the first place. Time. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. We'll do this naked again. No, that's the second part.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you, Moishi. Great to see you, brother. You're so awesome for showing up. I'm so impressed. Lots of love, my friend. Maybe I'll see you in Uman.
Who knows? Who knows?
You never
Never know.
know.
Mama's never know.
Okay, Abba, brother. Time.